The whole Liam Kumar Day effect, not really happened.
Nigel couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I rang up Mendenhall, he said he could make it.
Don't dig this hole. Phil, credit to the guy, he always manages to do well what he has, but he is a shocking person on that. You guys got a trophy? No.
It was pre-bit.
No, my life from Rashad Mendenhall.
Right, you guys, I'm a tag jack! I'm a fucking tag!
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the LOC Report that I most definitely did not forget about that I was meant to do. Thankfully I had a diligent and eager co-host to remind me, Coach and Team Ambassador, Ben Sherwood. How's it going, fella?
It's going fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone's really excited. Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine.
After such a terrible win, there's going to be tons of salt, so everyone's going to be pretty excited for that.
And we won't hold the salt. We'll just get straight to it with the league news. So first on the league news, DeAndre Hopkins, otherwise known as the artist Nuke, has sort of a hammy problem, but he's in no serious doubt from what I've seen for Sunday. Golden Tate popped up on the injury report with an ankle, but he is probable for tonight's game. Malcolm Floyd, limited practice with a hamstring issue that he suffered a few weeks ago. He suited up last weekend, so suit up again this weekend. Spencer Ware also on the injury report, but he's a full participant, so there's nothing major there. Alan Hearns suffered a nasty concussion in Sunday's game. It looked a lot worse than apparently it was. Apparently, if he clears the protocol, he could play without practicing Sunday, so keep an eye on him. Ronnie Hillman, also a limited participant, played the backseat in Sunday night's game. I'm not sure what the issue is with him, but I think it's a lower body problem. Moving on. Zach Ertz has finally cleared the concussion protocol, so he should be back for Sunday's game. While Dexter McCluster is still not practicing after suffering that knee injury. Ben Roethlisberger, full participant after he suffered what was initially reported as a concussion. It turned out it was some sort of acute migraine, so he should be okay. Yeah, I know, right, pussy. Tyler Eifert.
It's almost like turf toe. I mean, what is that?
Get off it. Tyler Eifert suffered a stinger, if you know what that is, because I sure as hell don't, in Sunday's game. I know it's something to do with the neck, and I know that he isn't practicing, so I'm not sure if he'll suit up on Sunday. Jarvis Landry for another week is a limited participant with the knee, but he'll be good to go. Willie Snead did not practice Wednesday due to a calf injury. I think he'll probably play through it, but again, he's just wanting to check before game time. Marshawn Lynch, I think we report that he will be out 3 to 4 weeks with a sports hernia injury. So he's probably droppable in fantasy right now. Very unlikely to come back, especially with Thomas Rawls playing so well. Martavis Bryant has a hip issue and he has not practiced yet this week. I don't think there's anything serious there, though he should suit up on Sunday. Carlos Hyde remains without a timetable for return, and I have in fact seen that he could even possibly be put on IR, as there are a couple of players on the 49ers who are on IR to return, so to clear a roster space for them, obviously they need to get rid of someone, so they could put Hyde on IR with Sean Dron looking pretty good in his absence. Tony Romo, as we covered as well last week, confirmation that he has in fact suffered a broken collarbone, and he will likely miss the rest of the season. Larry Fitzgerald, limited participant in practice. I'm sure you're bawling your eyes out over that one, Ben. He's got an ankle injury, but he played last week, and I'm sure he'll be fine for this week too. Travis Kelce, full participant. He's been on the injury report for a while, but he'll be fine. I think it's an ankle issue there as well. Danny Amendola should make a return this weekend after missing last week's game with a knee injury. He should be good to go. Ryan Fitzpatrick obviously had his thumb injury a few weeks ago as well. Had surgery on that, but he's been playing, so he'll be good to go on Sunday. Mark Ingram has had a shoulder injury for a bit now, but he's a full participant. He will play on Sunday. Vincent Jackson, he missed practice actually Wednesday with the knee injury that he suffered a few weeks ago. Likely just a rest day though. for the veteran. Interestingly enough, Jacksonville's kicker is limited. I don't know why, but with kickers that generally doesn't tend to be a good thing, so I would double check his status before Sunday. Emmanuel Sanders, he returned to the lineup, played against the Patriots, has an ankle issue, but he's full participant and should play. Brandon Marshall nursing all sorts of injuries. It's a toe and ankle right now. Limited participant, but he should play on Sunday. Kendrick West missed last Sunday with the hamstring problem. And Spencer Ware had a really good showing in his absence, but West should be back this week, albeit he may be part of a committee now. How important is it for Ben Estes that Charkandrick West comes back strong, Ben?
I don't know. He's been performing quite well this season. I don't think it's the cornerstone of his roster. I think he can still perform fairly well without him. So yeah, I think it'd be nice, but. Well, actually, no. Saying that, like all of I've been repeatedly saying, his matchups are absolute bollocks. So if he doesn't have a really strong team, actually, it might be enough to put him out. So yeah, we'll see.
There is one player who you said he's not a cornerstone. There is a cornerstone of this Ben Necessity side, and that is Rob Gronkowski, who went down with a nasty-looking knee injury. It turns out it's just a bone bruise, so it's really just a pain management thing. But obviously, with the Patriots 10-1, then they're going to be in no hurry to bring him back, probably. So he's probably not playing this week. He's week to week. So he might return the week after. How big a loss is Gronkowski for Bet Necessities?
Now that is huge. I mean, you can't find a better tight end in the entire NFL. He has done great things over the season for bare necessities. It's a big loss, but these kind of losses happen, unfortunately, in fantasy. So he's going to have to try and find the best replacement he can and move on. But yeah, it's not going to be good for him.
Yep, and we'll talk about that replacement in a little bit. Andrew Luck reportedly is throwing pain-free now. He's obviously had that kidney laceration, as you do.
Yes.
He won't be back this week. I don't think he'll be back next week, but he possibly could. But he should make a return around fantasy playoff time. Carlos Williams has not practiced. He's had a shoulder injury. He's been sporting a sling, in fact, so I wouldn't expect him to suit up this Sunday. JJ, full participant. He had an elbow injury. Played quite nicely on Sunday. He'll be fine this weekend. Nearly there. Oh, God, your bench looks like a long laundry list. Martellus Bennett, this is actually kind of funny. So he was reported missing the game with a rib injury. You're going to love this. I read something earlier that he didn't play because he's in a mental funk. Yeah, you couldn't see Ben's face right then, but it's probably a lot like how yours is right now. He possibly didn't play because of a mental funk, so I don't know what that means. He'll probably be back this Sunday. He's a full participant, so we'll just
what a wanker. I even picked up a tight end to cover that.
He might not play. He might still be in his mental funk. So
yeah, probably that mental funk being called Peyton Manning not being up to scratch. No. Sorry. Misspoke. Sorry. Misspoke. Thinking of the wrong player. I always get Demaryius Thomas and Martellus Bennett mixed up. I don't know why. Something about the names that just go. But yeah, what an absolute dick.
Yeah.
I look forward to putting him back on my freaking team. Although to be honest, if he has that little self-hope, so that's little self-belief. Maybe I don't want to put him on my team. Buying into his mental funk.
Exactly right. Moving on, Anquan Bolden and Philip Rivers are both full participants this week. They should play. Andrew Ellington, as you said, he has a turf toe injury, which is a real thing, and he probably will not play on Sunday. So it's a nasty injury. I can speak from experience. Alfred Blue.
They say the thing they say about it is like they don't know how long it's going to be. It's the kind of thing where like it could be like a week or like 3 weeks or something. It could be like 6 months. It's like who's going to know?
And it never really goes away. I mean, obviously it kind of goes away, but you can still get some symptoms from it.
Sure.
Even a while.
Like a broken heart.
Fuck you. Anyway, Alfred Blue was a limited participant this week with a back injury. But I would imagine he'll be okay for Sunday. Last team, I believe. Yep. Devontae Freeman should return from his concussion this weekend. Limited participant, so I'd imagine he's okay. Calvin Johnson, he's questionable for tonight's game with the ankle, but he was the same last week and played, so I don't see there being any difference there. John Brown, limited participant as he has been for it feels like 2 months now, with 2 hamstring injuries. I don't know if it's gone under the 1 now, but he'll play on Sunday. Ryan Matthews still has not cleared concussion protocol. He's been concussed for a while now. Richard Matthews suffered multiple broken ribs, I think, or bruised ribs or something in the Sunday game against the Jets. He will not play this week, I do not think. And that is your injury roundup. So we will hastily move on to the waivers. So what do we have here? The waivers. Here we go. So Ford Flyers added Antonio Gates and dropped Jimmy Graham. Obviously didn't cover it because I was looking at this week's teams. Jimmy Graham suffered a torn patella tendon injury, nasty injury there. He will miss the rest of the season. Antonio Gates, good replacement, Ben?
I think he was one of the ones I looked at. Players I've been looking at recently, but I'm not 100% sold on that. So yeah, I don't know. Be alright.
Sure. Had a nice game on Sunday, got 2 touchdowns, so but
I mean,
hard to repeat, definitely.
Yeah.
Badenes added Ryan Fitzpatrick and dropped Isaiah Crowell. Ignan added Richard Rodgers and dropped Chris Givens. Tom's Tyrants added Chicago Bears and dropped Ahmad Bradshaw. He was another injured player, he broke his wrist, I think, and he will miss the rest of the season. The Tigers added Devontae Parker and dropped Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Benesestes added Jay Cutler and dropped Brian Hoyer, which must have been a tough pill to swallow, as I know Coach Stubbs doesn't really like Cutler, despite being a Bears fan, so he'll have even more reason to hate him if he face plants on Sunday. Good Old Gang added Dan Herron and dropped Vernon Davis. The Dream Team added Robbie Gold and dropped Blair Walsh. Tug Clouds added Jason Myers and dropped Mike Nugent. The NSS's added Jay Ajayi and dropped Chris Johnson. I've got to rethink how I do these injuries because this is like the 3rd one I've missed now. Chris Johnson, I think he broke his tibia. Fractured tibia, yeah, that's a fractured tibia, which is something in the knee. So he will miss the rest of the regular season and possibly the rest of the season entirely.
Which is why there's this whole thing of like people picking up the other Johnson, but then they're picking up the wrong Johnson. Have you heard about this? Because it's like David Johnson, I think.
Yeah, that's
David Johnson.
Yeah, David Johnson's the other one.
Then people pick up the tight end, David Johnson, and so like half the people who pick. Yeah, they've been there, for I don't know who it is, but there's like been 20,000 like global pickups of the other one who like never plays, and it's like absolute banter.
It's like the Broncos linebacker Brandon Marshall. People always confuse him with obviously the receiver Brandon Marshall.
Good one.
Yeah. The Detonators really did a lot of flip flopping on their quarterback here. So they added Alex Smith and dropped Jameis Winston. They dropped Alex Smith and then added Tyrod Taylor, and then they dropped Tyrod Taylor and Marcus Mariota. Would you have ended up with Marcus Mariota after all of that, Ben?
Probably not. No, I don't really rate him, so no. I've just looked it up. You've got the choice between Antonio Gates and David Johnson for tight end at San Diego. So all those people, well done. You've picked up a great David Johnson. Anyway, yes. No, probably wouldn't choose Mariota.
Marcus Mariota.
I know what his name is. Marcus Mariota, yeah. Nah.
And our final one here, Ben Assesses added Scott Chandler and dropped Zach Miller. Obviously, Scott Chandler is Gronkowski's replacement. Good ad by Ben Assestes. I'm quite surprised he didn't actually go claimed on waivers. This was a free agency ad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I did better on the tight end front. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know what happened there because he must have known that he would need a tight end, but maybe he just didn't get on it quickly enough.
Yeah, he had Zach Miller, but yeah, he dropped him for Scott Chandler, as I just said. So
yeah.
Anyway, so that's all the transactions. So we'll get on to last week's game now, and we'll start off with. I think this is probably the time when we absolutely nailed the marquee matchup of the week, because we called it the Tugfards v Bedenators. Usually this is actually quite a one-sided one. It's usually a high-scoring one, and we all know the Tugfards have never lost to Bedenators apart from the game that it mattered. I'm going to milk that so goddamn much because it's the last time I'll be able to say it. The Detonators take an absolute barnstormer. Literally Monday night comeback right at the end. 122 to 121. Tell me about this game, Ben.
I mean, absolutely ridiculous. Like, to be fair, I think he had, 3 players going into Monday night?
So the Tugfards had Gary Barnage and about a 12-point lead, I believe, going into Monday night. Well, the Bedenators, obviously, 12-point deficit with Kamar Aiken and Justin Tucker.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Aiken, 14 points, pretty important. And Tucker, a solid little 9, although, I would always say that you can do that easily, no worries. But yeah, I mean, the real thing though is Russell Wilson. He doesn't often put up 45 points. I mean, no one does. And the Panthers as well, actually, have been, in my opinion, quite a good defense this year, but have not been super consistent. And they both came up huge. Combined, there's whatever it is, 70 points of your score. So. Yeah, elsewhere, it looks similarly weak to what we normally see week in, week out from Ollie's team, actually. Sometimes you'll get fluctuations and it'll be better or worse, but generally he doesn't do massively well, as we've seen throughout the season, even though he's got 6 wins, same as everyone else. But yeah, so just huge wins off those players, I reckon. And a bit of a fall from grace for the Tugfards, because Adrian Peterson did what he did, turned up, did 30 points. You still got 30 points from your QB, which is actually really respectable. And then it just wasn't enough, 121 points, It's just ridiculous, but it's fantasy,
Yep. Would have beaten anyone else in the league that week, apart from the one person he usually always beats, but there we are. So, Bedenators are now 2-8 against the Tugfards and finally have a regular season win over them. So I've milked that line as long as I can. Now I'm going to have to lay it to rest. So both of those teams are 6-6 now. So we'll move on to our next game here. This was another pretty, feisty rivalry. There was some bulletin board comments by either side about each other. ADRZ took on Benacestes. So both wanted to notch a win over the other one because they both said some pretty heated stuff in an argument on the chat, which was quite entertaining for all of us, of course. Entering this game, obviously ADRZ already achieved playoffs, but Benacestes still really needed to keep the winning going to give themselves a chance of getting either the division or the wild card. And they did just that, and we haven't heard a peep out of Coach Wells since. They lost 103-75. Can Benacestes jump off this and make a push for the playoffs?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's pretty average score. In terms of the scores of, because I worked out the averages. I've been playing with the numbers recently. On average, Benacestes turning about 105 points. So this is, pretty on target. So I think it's more of a failure on ADRZ's front, and I think all of these injuries are going to be the biggest problem. This win means nothing when 2 of your key players have gone out. You can't take that game and say, "Oh, let's extrapolate that." It's no.
Yeah.
And ADRZ side is really interesting because you see this we've seen this a couple of games throughout the season. Well, probably 3 because that's how he's lost, where he's not performed as well as he sometimes does, and it's normally a really lackluster game, and you sort of think, oh, this is weird because normally he does really well. There's a reason he's 9-3. So yeah, So I think it's as much a loss as it is a win for Bare Necessities.
Costly win is definitely a good way to sum it up. Bare Necessities is now 3-4 time against ADRZ. So we'll move on to our next game here, Gridiron Gang versus Jeff Seals. Both these teams coming into it had 6 wins, both were 6 and 5. Whoever won this game, depending what happened between the Tugfards and Iknan's game, either of these sides could have got a playoff berth, or not berth, would have been in the playoff position. Gridiron won, and the aforementioned 2 lost. They'd be in the lead in their division. If Jeff Seals won, they'd have the wild card. Entering this game, Jeff Seals had never beaten Gridiron Gang, and 0-2 all time, and that streak continued. They dropped a third one against them all time. Gridiron Gang won this one 106-92. Gridiron Gang now 7-5, leading the division. Tell me about this game. Can Gridiron Gang build off this and maybe achieve playoffs?
I mean, it's a real classic case of having some really nice, strong players, namely Brady, Miller, Lacey, although Miller, of course, did really crack that game. But in general, Brady put in 30 points, Lacey 17. You had some, I'd probably say, a bit of luck from Ware. But yeah, I mean, you've got the one lead ahead. Like, I had the one lead ahead the one win ahead last week, and it feels good. But then, like, things are so messed up at the moment. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to say that that's enough for you to make the playoffs, because we've still got 2 games to go. If you lose both of those, chances are you're not going to the playoffs. Yeah, because someone will probably in our division go 2-0 in the next 2 games. So, and if that person is Tugfards, then you're definitely not getting a playoff space because, providing I at least come like joint second with you. So yeah, it's funny. It's interesting as well because I think Rogers has been underperforming a little bit recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's not. I mean, underperforming maybe for Aaron Rodgers standards. Last 4 games, 40, 26, 23, 15. 40 obviously is synonymous with him, but the 26 and 23, I mean, it's a good score.
And 6.18 before that as well. I mean,
yeah. So he's not.
His average hasn't been great.
Yeah, definitely not.
Based up against Brady, I mean, Brady's average is absolutely huge for the whole season.
Yeah.
So, it's funny because he's like. Jeff Seals is like a pretty freaking solid team, like based on a couple of players, and they've done really well and probably surprisingly well. But yeah, in some ways they've been a little bit unlucky second half of the season because they haven't really had the results.
Absolutely. So we're going to our next game now. Iknan against Pakistan. Obviously, we know Pakistan's season was basically over despite winning a game last week, while Iknan tried.
No, it's over. It's over.
I said basically.
You can't. No, it's over. You can't qualify for playoffs. It's over. You might as well.
Over in terms of playoffs, but there's still other brackets to.
You can win emotional wins.
Well, the other brackets are important to a degree.
Yeah, he's not going to make it. He's maybe going to be in one of the higher brackets, though, is he? Because he's one of the only people on 5 and 7, or 3 and 9.
You mean he's one of the only people below 6 and 6?
Essentially, yes. So he's going to have to win like 2 in a row still, and even then, he's probably not going to be in a high enough bracket for it to make any difference.
Yeah. Anyway, they took on Iknan, who are, as I said, vying for a playoff spot with a win and a Tugfards loss, and depending what happened points-wise in Gridiron Gang's game, they could have gone top. History of this matchup: I believe this was the first time you've ever played Pakistan, and it was. So a fresh matchup for these two, and it wasn't the best of games, I won't lie. 83-58.
The worst of games.
Pakistan, yeah, you're absolutely correct. Pakistan have actually won 2 on the trot now, and they're 5 and 7. While Iknan drop 1, go to 6 and 6. Tell me about this game.
Oh, with pleasure. Yes. So what happened was sometimes I get fluctuations in how well my players play. Generally, one or two of them actually perform well. In this case, the people who played well were Rivers and Blue. Both of them were sitting on the bench, and everyone else decided to put in pretty much the same points, which is somewhere in the region of 6. 6.7, 6.4, 6.4, 6, 6, and 5.1. So things didn't really go well. This isn't usually how the games work. Of course, Cam Newton didn't do the worst that someone has ever done, but he didn't do great. And I lost. I got about 53 points. What is it? Let me just put it up. Yeah, 58 points. I feel pretty good about that. So yeah, basically, I reckon I haven't checked this, but I have a feeling that I would have probably beaten Pat every single other week that's ever been played, and it just fell on the wrong week. It wouldn't have mattered who I played, of course, this week because it was just crap. But it's made even worse that. Well, actually, no. I say that it's bad that I lost to Pat, but actually it doesn't matter. It's probably a good thing that I lost to Pat. That's not contending for anything. Like if I'd lost to you, that'd been the worst thing in the world. It'd have been a free win for you. You'd have got I'd have dropped my points average. So absolutely horrific. I mean, Andy Dalton did all right on his side. Decker, Rolls. I mean, they did all right. And as you were saying, Rolls is probably going to get some more points. So going forward, they're not really terrible, but it is too late. So at the same time, it's all pretty. What's the word? Hypothetical.
Trivial?
Imagine. Pointless. Perhaps that's the word. Pointless.
Hey, there's still brackets to decide the draft order, so.
Which you want to lose.
Well, I mean,
you want to get the first pick of where you want to go in the draft order.
No,
so you want to lose.
But to lose, you've got to lose the James Milner Bowl. You don't want to do that. No one wants that.
Maybe he does. He's got to pick Chris.
I'm sure Chris would happily come second to last and take this.
Because he's playing Chris, he'll probably lose because Chris has been playing very well.
No. It goes to the bottom 4 place go into a bracket. Whoever loses,
play each other.
Yeah, and then that's the whatever James Milner Bowl, and then the loser of that not only loses the entire league, but also gets the second choice of where they pick, just to rub salt in the wound, as it were. Anyway, I could hear the anger in your voice, so let's move on swiftly before you pass out. Forge Flyers took on Tom's Tyrants, another team that season is over, other than other stuff, really, but even now they can't finish.
Emotional victories.
Yeah, exactly. They would struggle to finish even above Pakistan in the actual tables as they are. But Forge Flyers, they can still, dodge the James Milner Bowl for the second year straight. Tom's Tyrants, on the other hand, very much going for a playoff spot. They've won 3 on the trot. They were 2-6. They've had an incredible turnaround. They thought last year wasn't good enough, so they've decided they're going to go and try and top it. All time, this matchup.
It wouldn't be enough, though. It wouldn't be enough if it was last year, though. It is only the state of the league as it is. Last year we weren't looking at 6-6, 6-6, 6-6. You needed, 9 to make the playoffs?
No. Tom's Tyrants finished 8-6 and made playoffs last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. They're hard pressed to get wins and keep up. History of this matchup, Forge Flyers has struggled statistically against Tom's Tyrants. They were 2-5 entering the game, and they lost this one now, so they are 2-6. 114 to 100 points, actually a pretty good game. Tell me about this one. Can Tom's Tyrants spring forward and potentially steal the wild card again?
I mean, never mind the wild card. They might finish top of the division at this kind of rate. Very good week for them. Landry obviously been in 22 points, very, very important. Ivory performing pretty well, 16 points. And Roethlisberger has been playing pretty well, actually, 24. Not to mention the kicker, of course, 17 points, as they always do. Everyone knows that. But yeah, so it's. I quite like Tom's team. Looking at it now, I'm not sure if they have it in them to make the playoffs or win. Yeah. But part of that is just long-term skepticism. And we've been proved wrong in the sense that Well, yeah, they've realised their potential and they've turned it around. So you can't really say fairer than that. So I think they've definitely got a shot at making the playoffs, but it's still judgment.
Yeah,
and obviously for Chris, another heartbreaking defeat at the hands of, he could have beaten me, he could have beaten Pat.
Yeah, one of many this season. One of many. So we'll go on to our last game last week here. The Romosexuals took on the Dream Team, and obviously this was the first time these two have ever played, because as the Romosexuals left the league, the Dream Team came in, the 2010-2011 turn, so first time these two played. Entering this game, obviously the Dream Team were leading their division, wanted to keep that going, while the Romosexuals really needed a win. They were a win behind the rest of the division. They were 5-6 entering the game. They needed a win just to keep up with the rest of them, and they could not do it. 96-68. Tell me about this game.
It's a good bloody thing they didn't win the game. Otherwise, it would be 6-6 because both teams would also be on 6-6.
Yep.
So thank goodness. Obviously, there was that really savage moment when we were talking about the fact that Vivid reminded Ross to play Tony Romo, and then Tony Romo came in and lost 1.76 points for them. So that was pretty emotionally heartbreaking. But back to the actual game. I mean, most of Ross's points come from Watkins and Kelsey, and a couple of other good performances. But he's not been looking particularly strong, especially in the second half of the season. And this is, it's slightly below average for him, but in terms of the second half of the season, but it's still much of the same. And the Dream Team, I mean, there was a bit where I was really positive about them, and they started to win a lot of games and all this kind of stuff. But even though they won this game, 96 points, it's not like there's not a ton of strength there that you can see. Like LaShawn McCoy, obviously a very good player. Brian put in like 14, but of course is he? What did you say? Is he out or is he?
He's
like,
got
how
a
long
hip
is he out
thing,
for?
but I think he'll be fine for Sunday. There's nothing to suggest that his status is in danger.
Yeah, because this is the kind of thing you don't want to lose, especially when you're heading towards the end of the season. But anyway, so he's been a little bit tipping off, I think, recently in terms of the performance, and as much as I wish him luck, he might win. He might come out top of the division. He's still one win ahead. He's been putting in good enough performances, but it's obviously quite tough to say at this point that I'm really positive about his team, because I'm just not.
Sure. And I think that the worst thing in this game is the Romosexuals. If we scan down to their bench, I know it wouldn't have mattered in this particular case, but they left Odell Beckham. Their first, their second round draft pick, although they also left their first round draft pick, Matt Forte, on the bench in these games. It wouldn't have won them the game, but it just goes to show this coach is really, slipping. And right now they don't even have a quarterback on the roster.
There's only so many times you can look at, I have 0% chance of making the playoffs before you give up. Actually, no, that's only this week, isn't it? So he has no excuse. Come on, Ross.
Yeah.
Step up your game. It's just too late. But anyway, step up your game.
Yep, definitely. So we'll take a look at the standings real quick right now. So, look, as you said, 6 teams are on 6-6, so we'll see how that breaks down in a second. In the Southampton division, the Dream Team at 7-5 right now, leading that. But they've got 3 teams hot on their tail: Ben SOC's, Tom Tyrants, and Detonators. Ben SOC's, Tom Tyrants both have a similar amount of points, about 30 to 40 more than the Dream Team. But Detonators are about 150 behind the Dream Team. So if they need to win the division, or indeed a wild card, they really need to win out and then cross their fingers at that. Division 2...
Maybe 200 points a week would be in order. That'd be great.
That would help. Portsmouth division, as has been the case all season long, ADRZ leading that up 9-3. They have now, with the Jeff Seals lost, absolutely clinched the division and playoffs, obviously. So they will be going into week 15. Jeff Seals, however, they dropped to 6-6 after the loss last week, followed by Pakistan at 5-7, coming off another win, with Forge Flyers at league worst 3-9. Winchester Division, Gridiron Gang is now the leader of that division again for the first time. I think in about, I don't know quite how long, but in a while. They're at 7-5, and the Tuckfards and Ignan at 6-6, right behind them. Tuckfards have got about 70 points over Gridiron Gang, whereas Ignan only have about 20. And at the bottom, Homosexuals at 5-7. And again, they're about 80 points behind Gridiron Gang.
Would have been more of a points difference if I hadn't fucked up this week.
Absolutely. So we'll go to the power rankings quickly, and as always, I'll just read them off and tell you how the guys have moved, and I'll let you talk about it a little bit. So here we go. Power rankings, the Dream Team at number 1. Again, they have not moved for a few weeks now. Tuckfards up from, excuse me, up from number 5 to 3. Tom's Tyrants up from 6 to Tuckfards up to 2 from 5. Tom's Tyrants up to 3 from 6. Ben Necessities have dropped down 2. They're down to number 4. ADLZ have dropped down 1 spot for the second straight week. They're now down to number 5. Ikanan dropped 3 spots after their pretty horrific loss. They're now at 6. Gridiron Gang holding steady at 7. Forward Flyers have moved back up to the number 8 spot from the 9th. Urban Detonators, for the first time in a long time, they're now in the single digits. They've moved up from 10th to 9th. Jeff Seals also up 2 spots from the bottom. They're 10th. Pakistan holding at 11th. And the Homosexuals, I think for the first time this season, they're down from 8th to 12th. What do you think of power rankings?
Well, I think the Dream Team should not be at number 1. Since you define power rankings as the strength of the team, and I don't believe that the strength of the team is actually there. So I think it should be 3rd, 4th, maybe. But beyond that, I think they're fairly fair. I mean, I should probably be around 10, but there's only so much you can really punish a guy in 1 week. And then, yeah. Oh. I see. I didn't read you. I didn't read this whole thing. He's pulling a classic Coach Sherwood right there. Savage, absolutely savage when describing the fact that Odell Beckham was on the bench.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, you also pulled a classic Coach Sherwood this week, though.
I didn't. It was the right choice. This is the thing. You can't blame good decision making and then be like, oh, the results didn't work out. Because fantasy football.
No, I mean, you didn't. Your starting tight end didn't even play. That's what I mean.
Okay, yeah, no, that is classic Coach Sherwood. I didn't even realize it was Thursday, and it was like, oh my god, my team played. I didn't think he's injured. Why is he injured? I didn't hear anything about. Oh god. So yeah, that was fun. I was like, oh, I can change him out, can't I? Because he's did not. Oh no, he played. Okay, he played. This is.
And you didn't even have a replacement on the roster, so you couldn't even ask me.
Why would I, mate? He's gonna play.
Anyway, he had a mental fault. We all know that's a crippling injury. It
is, yeah. I'll give him a proper crippling injury in a minute. But yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit more positive about the Detonators as well. Actually, I think.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, they're probably still not going to get a playoff spot because they have to win, everyone out. Dream Team has to lose, and then both of their games, and then it's just super tough. They have to win out overall, and other people have to lose, and it's just really tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I'd say fairly solid.
Good. You can go check out the league poll as well. Right now, it's which team will score the most points this regular season. So that's at the end of week 14. Which team will have the most points on the season? So you can go vote on that now. Right now, it's 50-50 between the Tuckfards and Tom's Tyrants. 4 people have voted on that. So we'll just take a quick look at the all-time record. So Coach Merritt, with another loss, obviously still stuck on 60 wins all time. Not in the regular season. They're on 58 currently. What else happened this week? With another win, Gridiron Gang are now 1 win away from 50 all-time wins. Coincidentally, they're also 1 loss away from 50 all-regular season wins. what else is going on? Coach Sherwood can get 45 wins all time and in the regular season this week if they get another win. Coach Leach can get a 55th all time loss if they lose again this week. That's the highest in the league by 3 over me right now. What else is shaking down? I don't think there's really much else. Nope. Although Pat Allen, if he wins out, obviously he could finish at 500 for the season and all time. So one to monitor there. But we'll get to next week's matchups now, and I think you'll probably agree with me on the marquee matchup this week. I'm going to go with the Tuckfards versus Bare Necessities. Yeah, I mean it's clear. Both these teams 6-6, both trying to win the division or get a wild card at least. Obviously, the loser of this game not eliminated, but I think for all intents and purposes, they probably will be. Yep. The projections currently have this one going 126 to 105 in Ben Necessity's favor. The history of this matchup, the Tuckfards are 5-4 all time against Ben Necessity, so actually a pretty close one. Ben, who is going to win this game and more importantly get knocked out pretty much of the playoff race?
Ben Necessities. I don't think they're going to be able to. Maybe they'll be able to do it. If they do, then my prediction is that they'll go on to go to the playoffs as the wild card. But my prediction is, with the knockout of a few key players, Top Cards have had a good last couple of weeks. Okay, they haven't won all the time, but they are very good. I think they've got it, and I think it'll be. I think it'd be very damaging for Bare Necessities. I think that's probably it for them. They have a chance. But...
Yeah. I mean, looking down, the only thing I agree with you for most parts, and I guess that means you're going with the Tuckfards this week, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you for the most part, but Tuckfards actually have some pretty bad matchups. Derek Carr's against Kansas City, not the best defense by any means, but they can play on their day. Mark Ingram's against Carolina. It's obviously a really good run D. Adrian Peterson's against Seattle.
Didn't he draft Matt Ryan? Or was that
he did. He hasn't played Matt Ryan in weeks.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. T.Y. Hilton.
That's an opportunity as well.
Yeah. T.Y. Hilton's playing Pittsburgh, who, again, they're not a great defense, but they've been a lot better the second half of the season than the first, if you ignore the Seattle game anyway. Allen Robinson, he's playing Tennessee. Again, Tennessee, one of those defenses, they're not the quote-unquote best, but they can play on their day. Gary Barnage, he's playing Cincinnati. So they've actually got some pretty bad matchups there. While I look on Ben Necessity's side, and it's almost the complete opposite. Cutler's playing San Francisco. Stewart's playing New Orleans. Sanders is playing San Diego. Marshall is playing the Giants. Chandler's playing Philadelphia. West is playing Oakland. There's some really juicy matchups there. And I completely agree with you. Tuckfards definitely has a better starting lineup. But the matchups are like polar opposites this week. And for that reason, I'm going to go with Ben Necessities. I think I'm going to go with Ben Necessities. But yeah, so that'll be an interesting game to watch for sure. And it'll be a heartbreaking loss for the loser, no doubt. So our next game here, this is always a fun one. We need a proper bowl name for this one. It's Icnan against Forge Flyers. The friendly rivalry, I would describe it, maybe. Obviously, as we said, Forge Flyers' season is over. They're just playing for pride and to upset some other people right now, and they could surely upset Icnan. Because if Icnan loses this one...
I'm going to ask him to bench all his players.
And that's collusion.
That works.
No.
On the podcast is not evidence.
I think the evidence would be him benching all his players. But there we are.
That's true.
So Icnan at 6-6. They really need to win to stay alive. History of this matchup. Let's see what's going on. Icnan are actually 2-5 against Forge Flyers. Funnily enough, Forge Flyers do seem to have the edge over Icnan. So maybe got you shaking a little. Yeah, in past instances. Maybe got you shaking a little. So the projections of this one, not so scary for Icnan. 145 astronomically to 123. Projected to be a high shootout. You want to talk about this game? Can Forge Flyers pull off the upset?
I hope not. I mean, I don't know what the status of Freeman and Brown is, but hopefully they won't play.
They'll both play.
That's Chris Johnson of
Calvin Johnson. Yep.
Calvin Johnson.
Yep.
Words. Okay, yeah. So he'll probably. But anyway, yeah. I think my team's looking fairly strong. I mean, after last week's performance, who even bloody knows? But hopefully they'll be able to turn in a pretty solid normal week, and we'll see a nice juicy win, because that would, But if I lose this, that is it. It's the same for, I think, anyone who loses this next week.
Any 6-6 team that loses, you're absolutely right. I think, with only one game left, they would need a lot to go that way. Basically, I mean, I kind of said earlier on in the season with the power rankings that ever since you lost Foster, I could see not the kind of week you had last week, but I could see a low scorer, not quite that low. And I mean, I think your receivers, for the most part, two of them I seem to remember had some pretty bad matchups. Thomas was against the Patriots, and Brown was obviously against Seattle. Newton really underperformed. You'd been nailing the quarterback choice for the past quite a few weeks, really, and that was really what led to you reclaiming the division. So it's just one of those weeks where everything just kind of went wrong. I don't think we'll see that again. You've got some definitely much easier matchups this week. And looking on Fort Flyers' side of the ball, I mean, this Fort Flyers team is good, but I don't think they're spectacular. They've got some okay matchups. They've got some ones. So I don't think they'll be able to do enough to knock you off. So I'll take you for the win here.
Me too.
So we're going to our next game here. Gridiron Gang take on ADRZ. Obviously, as we said, ADRZ 9-3. They've already got the division and a playoff berth. With another win, they could secure the highest record in the league for the regular season, at least. They still haven't quite locked that up, although you think they probably have. Gridiron Gang leading the Winchester division currently by one win, but obviously a loss here. They probably slip back behind on points. Another win. I mean, I think it's if you and the Tuckfuds both lose, Gridiron Gang can clinch a playoff spot and the division this week if they win. The history of this matchup: ADRZ is 2-3 all time against Gridiron Gang. So pretty close one. Haven't played each other that much through the years. Projections currently have this one going 134 to 126. And just looking down, I just like to point this out. Brady has projected an astronomical 43 points. I don't see that happening. But hey, who knows? So will Gridiron Gang be able to potentially lock up the division, or will ADRZ lock up the regular season title? What's going to happen?
So, in my opinion, this is going to be. I think this is going to be the resurgence of ADRZ. I think they've been slipping in the last couple of weeks, but I don't think it's for any. Who was it? One of their players went down, and it was a really big deal. And I can't remember who it is. Jamal Charles, that's it. Yeah. Charles went down, and that was really bad. But there's still a fundamentally fairly strong team. Yeah. I'm hoping you lose, because if you don't, there's going to be some serious issues in here. But yeah, it's a really tough one to call, to be honest. For the odds on these kind of things, I'm putting it 50-50, because it's just too close to call. You've got some pretty weak matchups for both teams. Obviously, Legacy at Detroit will be really, really good. I think they're overestimating how bad Philly are, but all in all, Bortles and freaking Hums are at Jacksonville, which is going to be 3 points. So I don't know, too close to call. But if I had to, I'm gonna give it to ADRZ just for hope.
Sure. Yeah, Sam, what you were saying about ADRZ. Ever since the Charles injury, they haven't quite looked the same. The emergence of Todd Gurley really did help that out, but they were more the consistent variety than the high scorers. As you say, in the last couple of weeks, I think they've kind of got 70 points in the last 2 weeks, so they've been slipping a little from their consistent ways. Like you say, they've got some decent matchups and some bad ones. I mean, Frank Gore's playing Pittsburgh, who, as I said, that they've been a bit improved recently. Gurley's playing Arizona, who are usually a good defense. And then you've got matchups like Jacksonville and San Diego and so on. And on the other side of the ball, Gridiron Gang, kind of the same. They've been the more consistent variety than the explosive. Had a bad week. I think it was the week before last, but improved last week. Got some tough matchups again. Lamar Miller playing Baltimore. It's not the best one. Eddie Lacy, actually, it's surprising. I saw something. Mike Fabiano starts Saquon. Lacy doesn't typically perform that well against Detroit, so will be interesting to see what he does tonight. And Chicago, they've been improving a bit of late as well. And I'm playing a player called Sean Drawn, so yeah, there's that. I agree. It could be a close one, and the projections indicate that, although will be a higher point projection than I would have it. But I think I'm gonna pick me to just edge it.
Sure.
Fingers crossed.
That hope factor.
The hope factor. Hey, it worked. I'm showing the confidence. I'm going to win. I'll pay my team to win. Jeff Seals against Tom Torrance is our next game here. So both these teams 6-6. Much like the Tugfuds v Benesistes, whoever wins this one likely knocks out their opponent. The history of this one: Tom Torrance actually 0-1 against Jeff Seals, funnily enough. Make of that what you will. Projections currently have Tom Torrance winning this 143-109. Some really high projected scores this week. We can only hope. So what's going to happen here? Can Jeff Seals defy the odds for the 7th time this season and win again?
I think if Rodgers checks again, then Jeff Seals will go down. And from the looks of Tom's team, it's much stronger. In terms of the just like breadth of potential. I mean, obviously Bryant, Martin, Ivory, really solid. Hoodoo, Jones, for me, it's 100%. Can you hear that?
Yeah, it's fine. We're nearly done. It's all good.
Okay. You know that.
Yeah. I agree. Tom Torrance, I mean, for the last 4 seasons, they've basically been a second half of the season team, and twice that ended up in a title. Once they just missed out on playoffs, and it looks like history's repeating itself again. Jeff Seals, I completely agree. They've got 3 players, right? This is what I said last week. Rodgers, Cooper, and Jeffrey. If they don't perform on a given week, they're just not going to win. David Johnson, obviously, coming in now. He's the starting running back right now for Arizona. That helps. Tavon Austin, as he proved last week, can have a randomly good week out of nowhere. But realistically, they need their big 3 to perform to give them the chance. While as Tom Torrance's side, they're just looking to start like studs right now. I don't know what's going to happen with Eifert, but even if he's out of the lineup, they're still better, and I would very much expect them to win as well. So we'll get to our final game here, and then we'll wrap up the show. Final game, Pakistan take on the Dream Team. This is kind of a fun matchup, right? This matchup has never happened before. Obviously, Pakistan with their newly awarded franchise. Pakistan 5-7, their season's over, so they're playing for pride and upset right now, while the Dream Team they obviously can't, they could look up their division this week if Benesistes, Tom Torrance, and Bedenays all lose.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, essentially, they just need Benesistes and Tom Torrance to lose to lock up the division due to Bedenays' subpar points. If they win, one step closer to the playoffs. Projections have this one going mightily close, 116-114. Can the Dream Team keep going?
Yeah, sure they can. Maybe. Yeah, I think they've got enough core strength. Olsen, Bryant, Crabtree. I mean, you were talking about the Kansas lineup before. You got Murray and Crabtree playing against them. That'll be good. Steelers isn't great for Palmer, but Houston's fairly weak, right? I mean,
That was St. Louis. Yep.
generally, I think they're a bit crap. So LaShawn McCoy should be all right. Yeah, no, sorry, I moved on to LaShawn. But yeah, so yeah, probably. I mean, the matchups on the other side, Woodhead against Denver, not great. Rawls against Minnesota, probably pretty good for him, actually. I don't know. I think I'm going to use the tiny last bit of optimism I have for the Dream Team and say, yeah, they can do it. But,
What a ringing endorsement right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I largely agree with what you said. The Dream Team, you know, they had some really explosive weeks. It's not been injuries that have stopped that. They've just kind of settled down a bit. So they've become more of the consistent variety. But hey, as we see, that's usually enough or can be enough to get you a win on a given week. Even though, like you say, they've got some tough matchups there, you think they're still going to get their fill one way or another.
Yeah.
While Pakistan on the other side, they're the consistent type. It's just consistently lower than the Dream Team, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So they need to have a really good week, realistically, to just put them in a good position to win, which could happen. They're 5-7, so it's not a terrible record. But yeah, I mean, you go with what's looked good for the longest, and that's the Dream Team. So I would pick them too, to the dismay of both of us. So that brings us to the end of the show, and penultimate week of the regular season. So it's we're really getting into it now, and next week we'll not obviously have the finalized playoff picture, but we'll be a damn sight closer to it. You would hope.
Keep your eye on the odds.
Unless everyone's ties against each other miraculously, then So yep, that wraps up the show. Tom's story dropped today. Locker's Corner. I've yet to read it, so go check that out. I don't think he's linked it up there, but you can go check that out. And we will talk to you next week. I don't know what day. I'll do my best to do Wednesday, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks for joining me, Ben. Best of luck this weekend.
Pleasure.
But
Thank you.
yeah. So and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.